Some coins don't look like they belong in a story at all. They look like they belong in your pocket, spent without a second thought. But every now and then, one of those ordinary coins carries a detail so small, most people never notice it. And that's exactly where today's story begins. Picture a quiet afternoon in the United States. Someone emptying out a jar of loose change on a kitchen table. Pennies, nickels, a few worn quarters. And then a small Roosevelt dime from 1990 rolls into view. Nothing shiny. Nothing special at first glance. Just another dime that's probably been passed through hundreds of hands. Maybe used in a vending machine. Maybe sitting forgotten in a drawer for years. Most people wouldn't even pause. But what if that moment of hesitation is exactly where curiosity should begin? Because the 1990 Roosevelt dime sits in an interesting place in modern U.S. coin history. By this time, the dime had already evolved far from its early silver days. It's made of a copper core with a nickel outer layer. A standard clad composition that the U.S. Mint adopted decades earlier. It doesn't scream rarity. It doesn't shine like silver. But sometimes the real story isn't in what a coin is made of. It's in what tiny detail might be missing, misplaced, or overlooked. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Most 1990 dimes were struck in massive numbers across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And they carry either a P or D mint mark. They were made to circulate, to blend in, to disappear into everyday transactions. But collectors don't just look at what a coin is supposed to be. They look for what it isn't supposed to be. And that's where the curiosity deepens. Because in rare cases, coins from this era can show small production quirks, things like weak strikes, slight doubling in design details, or missing or unusual mint marks on certain special strikes. These are not things you notice while buying coffee or paying for gas. They're the kind of details that only reveal themselves under close inspection, sometimes even under magnification. So imagine this. You're sitting at home, you've got that same 1990 dime in your hand, and you decide to take a closer look just for the fun of it. You tilt it under the light. You start noticing the fine lines around Roosevelt's profile. The word Liberty engraved along the edge. The date, 1990, sitting quietly at the bottom, almost like it has no story to tell. But then a thought hits you. What if this isn't just a regular strike? This is where coin collecting becomes less about money and more about attention. Across the United States, collectors are constantly searching through bulk coins, bankrolls, and old collections looking for small varieties or mint errors. Not because every coin is valuable, but because every coin has the potential to be something slightly different from the rest. That tiny difference is what creates demand. The 1990 Roosevelt dime doesn't have one famous headline rarity that makes every single coin valuable. Instead, its interest comes from the same reason many modern coins are collected. The hunt for unusual variations and high-grade condition pieces. Coins that were preserved well, or that escaped circulation damage, can still attract attention in the collecting market. And here's a lesser-known insight many casual viewers don't realize. Most valuable modern coins are not valuable because they are ancient, but because they are conditionally rare. That means a coin might be common in general, but extremely rare in top-grade, untouched condition. That subtle difference is what drives serious collectors to examine even something as recent as a Roosevelt Dime. Now let's bring this back to something real. Think about how many 1990 dimes have already been lost in couch cushions, coin jars, vending machines, and car cup holders.
Millions upon millions.
So when one shows up in unusually clean condition, or with a noticeable minting quirk, it naturally becomes more interesting to collectors who understand how survival affects rarity. But here's the important reality check. Not every 1990 dime is rare, and most are only worth their face value. The excitement comes from learning what to look for, not assuming every coin is a hidden treasure. That's what keeps coin collecting both realistic and exciting at the same time. And still, there's something oddly powerful about holding a coin like this. Because even if it's not rare, it connects you to a specific moment in time. The early 1990s in America, a period of change, transition, and modern minting techniques becoming more precise than ever before. Every dime from that year is a small piece of that industrial story. Now imagine this final twist in the journey. A collector once said that the most expensive coin they ever found wasn't something they bought, it was something they almost ignored. It was sitting in a pile of ordinary change, just like this 1990 dime. That's the mindset that keeps people checking their coins again and again. Not because they expect to get rich, but because they understand that attention is sometimes the only difference between ordinary and overlooked. So the next time a dime from 1990 passes through your hands, don't rush it straight back into circulation. Take a second. Look at it properly. Check the details. Not because you're guaranteed to find something rare, but because that's exactly how every real discovery story begins, with something everyone else decided not to look at twice. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden side of everyday pocket change, consider subscribing to HH Coins World. And more importantly, take a moment to check your own coins, because the next small discovery might already be sitting in your home, waiting to be noticed.